103.5, 104.1, and 104.7 FM. Listen and view on DBS Radio Facebook Live and on YouTube. Give us 90 minutes and we will strengthen the connection between Dominicans residing in the lovely Nature Isle and Dominicans residing abroad. National broadcaster DBS continues its quest to highlight and celebrate the achievements of Dominicans. We will discuss the highs and lows, the challenges and successes. Give us 90 minutes and we will solidify the connections we share with Dominicans all over. Anu celebrate achievement Dominice to all latte. Connecting the dots. Tune in this Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Come join us as we weave a tapestry and strengthen our connections. Asu Radio DBS.
Stories have been told.
Welcome, people. Welcome. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Good day. Lovely day today. Bel beau temps jeudi. The last Saturday in the month of February. And here's where we welcome you to connect in the Dots on DBS Radio. How are you, family? You in the kitchen catching up on the household chores? Or you may be driving. Look, I can see you enjoying breakfast. No, boy, that song isn't too proper. Let's just say you're putting blows on a brekkie. Welcome to Connecting the Dots on DBS Radio. Nigel Francis is around. Our guest is around. So I'm going to see if I can make that connection with Nigel Francis. Right, so let me say good morning to my co-pen, Nigel Francis. Nigel, you that tell me to put blows on a brekkie, yeah? So come and clear your name. Come and clear your name, Nigel. You that tell me to say that.
The only problem is I tell you that and I don't have I can't put blows on one myself. I don't have none to put blows on. So
okay, so because I was about to tell you, when you see you coming and clear your name, you can take along Snapper and Alvin Thomas with you because I already have Winnie on my side. Vado is there, Shields Joe, you know, Roslyn, Severum clean, Noreen, and the list goes on. So yes, all you have to bring is
So I'll have to bring Alvin and Carl Kofi James and Derek Liverpool and the list goes on. You know?
Okay, all right. Yes, so how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
I am good. It's Saturday. I'm doing well. I've had a good week and here again. Waiting to connect and to share.
Nous pas qu'à parler autant joli là, eh? Because I want all this scoop. I want everything from our guest.
Yes. We're taking it from the very beginning, from him to the end.
Yes.
We want everything.
Of course. But it was a very interesting week, Nigel. Started with sort of solemn moment, that farewell, to this phenomenal woman for Diana Frampton. So that was on Sunday. And of course, we had the funeral mass as well and the burial. So kind of a sad start to the week. How was yours?
Because I also shared, from a distance. I also shared in the, in that moment. Mm-hmm. So, it started off that way as well, from.
But just now, there's something not working, man. Something is not connecting. Nigel, let's see if we can fix this. Something is not.
Let's see if we can fix this.
All right. Okay, so you were saying?
Yes, no. I was just saying. I mean, it was the same. Started off with from Sunday with the vigil and moving to the funeral on Monday. So the week started the same, and then
Okay.
of course gradually we have accepted,
Yeah.
and though we've moved on, the presence remains. So
Yeah.
just went through the rest of the week dealing with the other things that one has to deal with, work wise, and family and everything else. So. And of course, in between, listening to all the crazy stuff going out there with the news and everything else. So, but it was a good week, man. Can't complain.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
Can't complain.
But
Can't
yeah.
complain.
So as
I'm
I
pretty
say,
sure you had a busy one, right?
yeah, very very busy,
Yes.
but interesting
Yes.
week as well. And I suspect I'll sit today, because we have a guest there who is more than an astute businessman, Nigel, or an events planner or friend. He's a motivational speaker, and that's my kind of vibes.
Yes.
That's my kind of vibes.
So
But quickly,
we'll probably
Nigel, before we
go
go to
ahead.
the book, quickly, I'm just named 5 communities whose names start with the letter C. Let's take C today. 5 with Nigel.
5. Okay, let's go.
Yes, with only 5. Only 5.
Cochrane. Um. Um.
Come on, my Nigel.
Citronade.
All right.
Cochrane. Citronade. C.
Capuchin. Let me help you.
Capuchin.
Castle Comfort.
Yes.
Castle Bruce.
Castle Comfort. Yeah, Castle Bruce. Collio.
Collio, yes. Cooley yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Collio. That's what I said.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you want to do 10? Okay, go ahead. You have 3 more.
No, we're good to go.
We're good to
I can't think of any more for now.
Wait, boy. Coco, yeah. That's a community or hamlet in a...
Coco, yeah.
Yeah, there's a place called Coco, yeah. I think it's a hamlet. In what area? I'm not too sure, though.
Cotton Hill.
Okay. Cottage as well is another
Cottage,
one.
yes, and Cotton Hill in Portsmouth.
Did you say Clifton? You said Clifton?
No, we haven't said Clifton.
Okay,
yet.
Clifton is one as well. Okay, so we're good to go. All right.
Yeah, we did well.
Nothing difficult there today for us.
No.
To marry us up there.
Well.
So quickly, Nigel, what is the book saying?
Well, the book is going well. I mean, Alvin wants to tell us he was there very early. He was actually here before the classroom opened. So because he wasn't there last week, he make up for this week. So good morning to you, Alvin. And of course, Carl Kofi James has been there very early. Want to send his greetings to Val. Let's see. Alvin wants to tell Ivona you were exceptional in your tribute to the ceremony for Dying Outside of Flow. I strongly suggest that you publish it. Diane Libla wanted to help us and tell us Cochrane is one that starts with C.
Yes, Cochrane.
London, of course. Want to big up Ivona and Nigel. Let's see. So the book is going. Welcome to all those. To Olivia Charles, good morning to you. And to all the others, trying to scroll through as quickly as we can. But of course, Edwina is locked in from Houston, Texas. Jennifer Gordon, good morning to you. And everybody's waiting to see what's the young bull. Is he still the young bull? We will find out about that, and so forth and so forth. So, book is rolling well.
And that's good.
To all of you.
Quickly, Nigel, I also got a message last week, and not just last week. I've been getting messages that we recognize people who are on Facebook, and we fail to recognize those who are also with us, on the YouTube platform. So we have to pick them up. We have to do both, as well. Yes.
So I shall go onto the YouTube as well.
So we'll do that. Yeah. But so let us begin. We start with the prayer, and our guest will also pray for us. Before he starts off. You have the prayer, Nigel, boy.
It's right. I said this morning.
Okay. All right. So let's get ourselves in the mood for prayer.
Beautiful session.
All right.
Heavenly Father, creator of mankind and the universe, we thank thee for all the gifts of life today and all the blessings you continue to bestow on your children. We seek your presence and intervention throughout this program, and we ask that you keep us connected always. We also pray for the success of the program, its coordinators and listeners, that they may find purpose and enjoy what we share. Bless our radio station and the nation, and may we grow to love and unite with each other, irrespective of our differences. All this we ask in your name, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. All right.
Yes.
So we're gonna start. We're gonna start the discussion, right?
Mm-hmm. We are going to start the discussion.
Yeah. Because it really, and we know, this is the highlights of the program when the guest comes on after we talk, and yes, when the guest comes on, that is it, for connecting the dots. And today we really want to sing the praises of of Valentine Val Cuffy. Valentine, as if Sapaka song, right?
That's about a song recorded.
Val. You know some people, yeah. Valentine with Nigel. No boy.
There's some people when you hear
Yes.
their Christian name, put it that way, the name that was given to them at birth, and
Yeah.
then you know them for a different name, and you're like, who is this person? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So Val Cuffy, yeah, the son of the late well-known pharmacist Stanislaus Cuffy. So we have
Yes.
to,
Another name
see
again.
that as well. Just last week, in fact, normally on a Sunday we repeat a program from the 100 Great Dominicans production that DBS would have done long ago, and we repeated this one on Stanislaus Cuffy. And so I did not inform the family before. So sometimes we inform the family before that we're going to do it, especially when the person has passed. And you can just
Right.
imagine, for them to just hear this, Nigel,
Yes.
the emotions that would drown them. But yeah, we have to repeat stories like that. And Stanislaus Cuffy did so well for Dominica. But Val Cuffy, his son, is on with us this morning. So Nigel, is really a pleasure. The brother of my good friend Romo, Val. It's really sad as well, Nigel, that a prophet is not really recognized in his own land. But we'll talk about things as we go on. We'll look at this later. What can I say? To know Val is to know a wonderful soul, a straight shooter who is passionate about a lot of things. When Nigel Francis was getting better at beating the drums, I gave him some Mapeway and then he stopped. But I'm still hoping that, he has that talent and he can come on and beat the drums. Nigel, you can beat the drums, so welcome, Val. But where is Nigel? Nigel? No, something is not connecting. Something is not happening there this morning. But we'll see, because we really feel good about welcoming our guest on this morning. Let me say thank you to all of you who are on already, those who are normally on. Okay, so yes, Nigel, I was making a request for you to beat the drum. I don't know if you have a whistle nearby or something.
I was trying to find something to welcome him, and I couldn't find the appropriate instrument. So I said I would just welcome him with my voice.
Okay, all right. Of course I can.
Yes.
Do. Yeah, man.
Yes, I think he'll accept that. I think he'll accept that. I think Barry will accept
you all go way
that
back as well, so
with my voice.
right.
So way back.
Yeah.
Yes, the connection. Yes. So I think he'll accept my voice.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he would say it's a good voice to welcome him. So, Mr. Valentine Val Cuffy, I'm not seeing you yet, but here he goes.
You're seeing him now, right? Okay.
Mr. Valentine Val Cuffy, good morning to you, my brother. Welcome to Connecting the Dots. It's a pleasure to have you on this program and to share your journey and your moments with you. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
Good morning, Nigel. It's very good to have you there, and your voice is just good to hear a voice from way back. So it's good to hear, and I want to thank you very much for having me here today to tell my story, to continue the journey that God has blessed me with for this number of years here on this earth.
Okay, so Val, it's our pleasure as well. Would like you to begin with a prayer as well. I know we have the Connected Dots prayer, but it's never too much to pray a lot. So.
Oh, it's never too much.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Spirit of the living God, as we come here to connect the dots, not only of my life, but the life of Dominicans who have come through and have done well. Those here in the diaspora will continue to bless each and every one of us. We pray for good health and life according to our years. We lift up all the needs and wants of the people of this country. We ask that you come and that you change our hearts of stone into the hearts of flesh, that we'll do your will, that we'll recognize you, that especially in this time, that the only way that we can succeed is to know Jesus Christ. We thank you, we love you, we glorify your name, and we want you to know that in our hearts and our minds we want to live for you, especially as we continue this journey here on earth. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Wow.
Amen.
Nigel, that was sweet.
Yes.
That's like Deacon Val.
Powerful. Thank you.
Yes. I felt, I felt a warmth, embracing me. And Val was praying. So, yeah, that's good.
The power of prayer, man.
The power of prayer. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nigel, I don't know. something is just not working, because look, I'm not hearing you again. Something just goes off, and I can recognize when it goes off. But anyway, we'll see how we can rectify this as we go on. So yes, so Nigel, how do you begin? I'll give you the first.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So I'll give you the first knock.
Beautiful.
I'll give you the first knock.
Yes. All right. I'll take it. So we're going to go with Val, from the very beginning. And Val, one of the things we always try to do on the program here is that, of course, we try to find out, for those who don't know, what part of Dominica is Val from?
Well, I was born in Goodwill at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Before I reached the hospital, I weighed 10 pounds, 8 ounces, so there was a little bit of difficulty in having the birth done at our home in Jefferson in Goodwill. So a nurse Chalmers assisted, and then from what I was told, and then I went to the hospital. So born at the PMH in Goodwill, and that's where I was born and raised, and up to the day I have kept my life in Goodwill. Our business is in Goodwill, the main branch, Bullseye Pharmacy and Federation Drive in Goodwill. Actually, it's on 12 Federation Drive, and I was raised on 12 Jeffers Lane. So we have really kept the connection in Goodwill, and continue to forge alliances with all of our neighbors and our friends, and to do the best we can.
All right. So Goodwill.
Yes.
Okay.
Roseau North.
Roseau North. What area you said it? I was kind of
Goodwill.
I know, but what area? But there are so many lanes.
Jeffers Lane, which is opposite. We coming up just close to the Savannah, which is the place that the Lindo Park, where a lot of us, believe it or not, played football, basketball, got engaged in a number of things there as a young man.
Okay, interesting. All right, Jeffers Lane. So you still bounce the ball and shoot in the basket,
Oh yeah.
Right.
I had my own basketball team, Northern Pacers. That's where we started off. Ian Williams, who lives in Miami, a number of us had that. Played football on the Savannah early mornings. So you guys are my size. I never let my size keep me back from doing the things that I had to do.
Okay. Val, how far back can you go? Can you remember your preschool days, or what can you remember from that time?
Well, I went to Miss Winston Preschool. That was just opposite the Savannah. There was a preschool there.
The Savannah in Goodwill as well?
In Goodwill as well.
Okay.
I went to that, and then I went to the Goodwill Primary School, and then the Dominica Grammar School. From all reports, I was a student that loved to engage, and I still think that my open-mindedness and speaking of my mind, I shared a lot in whatever I had with my confreres. I was able to succeed. I wanted initially to become a businessman, to become an entertainer.
Even at that age.
I mean, later on.
Oh.
What I started off thinking of because of my father was because do medicine. Want to be a doctor. But then I just you're going through so many different things because you're working with your father in terms of following his footsteps, whatever he was doing at the time. He was cutting dead bodies and being a pharmacist. I ended up doing that because I wanted to honor him. And then it became part of my entire life. And then in school, when I went to grammar school, I didn't want to be in medicine anymore. I really didn't want to be a pharmacist again. I didn't want to be a doctor again. I wanted to get into business. What kind of business, I didn't know. And then I started, I guess, with the Calypso being so close to the grammar school, to the grotto and stuff like that. I started feeling a sort of energy towards that. And then when I realized that things changed is when my mom came to grammar school and decided that you are going to do chemistry and biology and stuff like that. And so she changed me in far form into that road. And then I had to remain one more year so I could get the get qualified to move on to the pharmacy program, which I did. And the rest is history. Here I am now. My wife and I, we have 3 pharmacies that we run. One in Roseau, in Goodwill, one in Grand Bay, one in Portsmouth. Being a pharmacist for close to 4 decades. Have been doing that all my life. As a result of my father, I cut dead bodies for a living initially, which was something that I thoroughly enjoyed in terms of getting to know.
You enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed doing that. I have fond memories of finding the cause of death of people and being able to teach people about the human anatomy, how things happen. So, and I guess the medicine part of me didn't really completely left. Then I am now at a stage where I felt that whatever missed opportunities that I had, that God had given me, that He is part of my journey, and being able now to have a good staff, a good team, about 14 persons that work within the Bullseye family, and be able to navigate that way, that life with them, has been a tremendous honor. So I just looked at that initial phase of my life as setting me up to where I ultimately am at this point in time.
Wow. Nigel, some
But
shortcuts,
he take, yes,
yeah.
he has some shortcut. He takes some, yes. So we have to go back and connect those shortcuts that he take there. So Val, we're gonna go back to the preschool primary. So this morning we're gonna make your memory, go back and connect, for that particular journey. So in preschool, Miss Winston, and then Woodville Primary School, do you recall like any of the teachers that might have probably been teaching you around that time to help shape you?
Not in preschool. I remember Miss Winston. She is a blessed memory. I know she was very tough on us in terms of little children growing up. You had to be very respectful. At that time, growing up and going to preschool, the community they were extended as your parents, So all these people around that time, they were looking out for what you did and how you coordinated your life. So I remember Miss Winston at school. I can remember. I one teacher from my primary school. I always remember is I think it's Jacqueline since it's Lancaster. Yeah, Jacqueline Prevost Lancaster. Yeah. I remember her clearly. She was one of my favorite teachers. So I remember her from primary school.
Wow. What a story.
What did you do? I know you mentioned when you went to grammar school, in fourth form, your mom got you interested in chemistry and biology and so forth. And do you remember in primary school, like some of your favorite subjects? Was it English? Was it writing? Was it reading? Was it math? Or you don't all?
I always maths and I were not the best of friends. So English, history, this little things that wanted me to think and to get out of my normal. I never liked things like geography and stuff like that. I just wanted to. I think for me, if I had done the requisite amount of time and energy towards my early days in school, I probably would not be who I am today. I probably would have really become that doctor. So you because I had to cross over from school and into enjoying following my father's footsteps, not knowing that I want to be in his footsteps, so that I think had me as a young man not too clear as exactly what it is I wanted to do, and but as I said, it's a journey, and I'm fortunate enough that I have the best of both worlds now. Thank God for that.
Yes. Would you say you were troublesome, boys, at that time?
Oh yeah, I was troublesome. I was the dumpling of the party. I at that time I think just to get to know people and to be part of it, I wasn't like an athletic sort of individual, but I did try, and then in so doing I connected with a number of my peers that way. So when I was troublesome, did the normal pranks and jokes, and I remember one of I think after primary Goodwill School, I did it was a boys' school. I must remember that part now. Intruder, Fredos. We used to play a lot of cowboy, at break time, and run around in the staff room, around the schoolyard and stuff like that. I remember playing small games, like cricket games, little football during your these breaks. I remember in high school, I remember being troublesome, bringing out all the students at the grammar school in a sort of semi demonstration because of some situation in the lab. I remember having Mr. Lockett at that time cane the entire school, including Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House, also Edgar Hunter. I remember that they always remind me of that. I got more strokes than everybody else because I was the one that was speaking out the loudest. So it's these days you really in I think now the generation now misses a lot of these opportunities where you grow in that sort of a fashion if people are around you and you connect with them, and I remember this fun memory. I have the fun memories of them.
Wow. In fact, I got a message from Dr. Maximilian Vigilant yesterday when I sent him the flyer, and he was like, whoop, whoop, classmate and good friend.
Yes, Max.
Good friend.
That's another guy in Maximilian Grammar School. Another joke. So I in cricket, I wasn't the best cricketer. So I started wicket keeping, and so I could make the team. So my wicket keeping skill was quite different from Nathaniel Isaac, who was short and I was fat. So here goes I'm keeping. So anytime Maxim and these guys were bowling, they were bowling real fast, and the ball will never miss me because if it missed the glove, it hit my body, but I was like nothing. So I made the team, and I remember these days playing. I played for grammar school. I played a game for grammar school. I ran out Claude Wicks, I think a time because he hit a ball and then I didn't know how he expected me to run from one wicket to the other in the quick time. So that didn't work out for us. I remember umpiring as well because and I was one of the umpires who quite possibly could have been the first Billy Doctor. Mm-hmm. But I would not have made it far because once the ball hit the pad, for some reason my vision, and once the grammar school was bowling, I normally only saw LBWs. So I wasn't the favorite. I remember a guy from Rosa Boys School, Williams is his name. I used to call him. I kind of these days they say you pitch him, so I pitch him, and then he ran after me for jumbo bat. And I had to be saved by that. So we had some good days.
So Val, I know you. I'm going to ask you a question, and I know you said this already, but it would be remiss of me not to ask you. Just tell us clearly again what secondary school did you attend?
The Dominica Grammar School.
Oh,
the Dominica Grammar School.
You can only say it once, but you don't have to say it too many times.
No, you have to say it for emphasis. I mean, come on. Yeah, okay. So I just want to get that clear. Yeah.
Okay, you went to the Dominica Grammar School. Okay, okay, that's good. All right, you say it already. Don't say it again.
But it will come up again, Nigel. Obviously, you have to come with the Dominica Grammar School. Yeah.
But Val at primary school, and then we're gonna go to the Dominica Grammar School. I'll say it for you. So at primary school, did you? I mean, what was it like? I'm trying to figure out, right? Because during that time when you grew up, in Goodwill, Lindo Park was there, Goodwill Primary. We had a Goodwill Primary Savannah right next door, and so on and so on. What was it like? I mean, in the afternoons after school.
Well, after school, at home, you had to make sure you do your necessary homeworks and stuff like that. I had friends in the neighborhood, so you go play, but you have to. Yeah, but my mom wasn't and dad keen on us going towards the Savannah. So you had to be coordinated to have that. So I actually broke the rule by just deciding when I got a little older. And if my younger sister Rome is listening, she will get this. So that I just decided I'm going to go on this avenue, and I'm going to play with the guys. And so I mean, there are times you got discipline for that, but it's all a growing up process. So after school, do your homework, get a little thing games in. If you have to do anything else, you do it. I wasn't the one at home I was the eater at home. I was not the one that will look to prepare meals and stuff like that. That was left for the rest of my my team.
Okay.
So they would prepare and you would eat.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who would help me to bake the cake? I said the rat. I said
the
dog.
So I enjoy these days, but now I'm happy to report that I can do some things now and prepare meals. So
you can help to prepare the meals.
I can help
now.
prepare the meals now.
Sure. Not just Joanne alone. Okay.
Not just Joanne alone.
So grammar school. Because we have so much to cover with Val, grammar. By the way, Val, how you move from Valantine to Val?
Well, my name is Valantine, and when I asked my father, why did you just call me Stein's Costa Cuffy Jr.? He told me, well, I wanted to name you after two sins. So then, so Valentine's my first name, and then I asked him the second name. Why did you call me that? He told me, well, it's another saint, and after the church. So I am named Valentine Alphonsus Cuffy, and I used to cry a lot especially in these early days when they used to play that song Alfonso Marco. That used to I felt the song was for me. Just like when they used to play Mr. Big Stuff. Who do you think you are? I thought that song was for me when I was growing up as well. You know, so
My goodness, why am I laughing so much?
So,
This is unprofessional.
so the name is Valantine Alphonsus Cuffy, named after two saints and then the church. So then when I got out, then I started everybody. I didn't want. There was a problem with Valentine and Valentine.
Yeah.
I had a teacher which is Valentine Tongue. Which is that's kind of stuff why she taught me as well. So you find that. So there was a confusion. So then I just decided, okay, let's leave it at Val.
Yeah.
And Val has stayed for a while, and but most people when I say my real name is like, are you really that same person? You know.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to get that story up because somebody was asking about how did Val come about. So we know how Val came about.
Okay, so we are in Dominica Grammar
by the way,
School now,
someone
right?
is asking, someone also want to know if you ever used to goalkeep.
Yes, I tried every sport. I think that if I had moved to the United States, I would have been an American football player. Because that's a game I thoroughly enjoy American football.
Wow.
I just love to see the competitiveness, especially the big guys. I would have been one of the defensive fellas for sure. So I played football, I played defense, and I played the goal. And I remember one of the greatest football game in Dominica was when Franklin Moses was in one goal and I was in the other. DBS Radio played a football game. And I could not believe that so many people came out to see two of the greatest goalkeepers in the history of the game.
Boy, that was just something else. Nigel, of course, you remember that.
Oh yes,
I was a cheerleader then. Yeah, those were the days. By the way, so Carl Kofi James is also saying that you all played together, and he can recall you appealing as an umpire.
I tell you, I don't know if I'll reach to Billy Doctor's success, but I for some reason, I mean, you had guys like Maxime Vigilant bowling very fast. There was Telford, Shillingford, Cuffy William, and when they passed by me, it was like a breeze that. I mean, you see fast bowling now, you know, and I'm wondering, if these guys had the opportunity, what they would have become, you know, and then even in school, like in the athleticism of these guys, like when you had a guy like Irving Guy who just, I mean, I ran 100 meters race with Irving Guy. I think Brian St. Rose was there, a couple of them, just because we had a house competition and I was so competitive. I placed last, and James Dominic was the timer, and James Dominic clocked me at 22 seconds, which is still a record at grammar school. I ran 100 meters in 22 seconds, and I'm very proud of it because the guys, by the time I reached, Irving Guy was taking out his shoes.
Wow.
You know.
Yes, sir.
Which takes us to grammar school, you know. So I mean, at DGS, DGS was probably like, I mean, not just a school.
Please say the name, Nigel.
Dominica Grammar School.
Say the name, DGS. Say the name, grammar. Say it properly.
Dominica Grammar School. Please.
So that school there. So DGS, grammar school, the Dominica Grammar School, DGS. I've been in trouble too. I have to say that so many times.
Yes, and I.
So I mean, that was not just. I mean, when you think about it, it didn't seem to be just a school. It seemed almost to be like a family, a home where you met so many other students from different communities.
Yeah.
What was like? What was your experience like at DGS?
It was. I mean, the experience was. I mean, I still have lifelong friends that we still connect. You know, regrettably we lost one of our good confreres, Irvin Totes. So we all went to school together. So the grammar school experience from growing up, you know, we had, everybody was like brothers, you know. We look out for each other. There was good communication. Some of us knew each other parents, you know. I mean, we talk about Simi and Joseph. I used to come. We used to debate for grammar school, debate against each other. I remember Peter Pascal, who's now in the States. Roddy Deja, Claude Wicks, you know, Kofi. All this. We knew people that just extended beyond the walls of the school, and they were in a class by themselves in terms of how they carried themselves, and that's why they were able to form even play in adult football leagues and stuff like that, and compete at high levels. So I, being not in that league, decided I had to find myself some way, somehow. So I had to ring the bell when the guys were playing football. So I was the biggest cheerleader, the mascot. or to just to come around when they're playing cricket, so I could fit myself in. So I became an umpire. When Nafan Isaac wasn't ready, I decided, well, I'm going to try and wicket keep. And, so grammar school, debating, doing the sports, following the work. I wasn't really, in terms of the music, singing and stuff like that, calypso. The Minister of Education, Bonnie, was a calypsonian at grammar school, junior calypsonian. I wasn't interested in calypso at that time, more than just to focus on what's happening at the grotto, but not to go. I was still shy. In terms of drama, I didn't really go into that as yet, but I was observing and trying to find who I should become. Because one of the things of childhood obesity is that you have low self-esteem. And I had a lot of low self-esteem growing up because I felt I was so big, and that how do people socially accept me? So I had to be battling. And there's a point in my life where I felt I become too tough. I was always ready to push people back because they feel they're going to push me because of my size. And if I had to do it all over again, there's certain times I think I hurt people's feeling because of my attitude and the way that I push people away. It wasn't intended to do it, just because I had this defensive mechanism that I put in front of me.
Were you bullied as well?
Yes, I was bullied. I almost killed one of my friends. Well, he called me a very bad name when we were coming from school, and that time I loved wrestling, so I used to buy all the wrestling magazines from CBs and cut them up and sell the pictures and stuff to make money. And I always be doing something. And he called me a very bad name that we reference to fat people and obese people. And then I lift him up and I just threw him against the wall, And that was something that I regretted. And I mean, even it was years after we really, because it could have happened. It could have caused a problem, And then I used to get so angry when people called me names and stuff like that. And then the turning point for me was, I don't know what happened, but it was the most beautiful experience. It was a hard experience that turned beautiful, that caused me to appreciate who I am now. And that was when I, what they call it locally, your gopwell. So then you suddenly, you lose that and then you figure out, well, you need to get somewhere. Okay, well, all right, I'm too fat for love. What do I do? And that's how I started now interesting myself more into the theater world, into music. And the first thing I do was when I wanted to become a Val Cuffy, that's who I am, that's my size, I'm not going to let you bring me down. I reached out to Emmanuel Hixie Salamat, and then he started working on a song Through My Pocket for me, and got that song written up. And then one of the things that he did for me that I'll never forget is that he wrote the first two verses and the two choruses, and he said to me, well, now you're going to have to write the third verse. And I'd never written anything before, so then he guided me through that, and then I was able, then the rest is history. And then I just suddenly accepted myself for who I am, and then the reality hit me when I started taking off my shirt on stage. And the ladies were screaming and shouting towards me, and I felt I had a six-pack. And I convinced myself for years that I had a six-pack, because the way they were reacting is like as if, well, this is the sexiest man alive, and there's no doubt about it, and nobody could take my... I mean, for years I kept saying on stage that I'm the sexiest man alive, and I believed it. And up to the day I I believe it.
Wow. Interesting. So that GP, that Gopwell, was like a defining moment, a turnaround.
A defining moment, a turnaround, because it's like... I could not do sports. I lost sports. I could not do anything else besides doing the cutting the dead bodies, and they don't say anything to you. So here it is now. You have lost everything. What are you going to do? I'm not going to die. I'm going to do whatever I can to survive. But I cannot continue my life being bullying people. So what? That just is like as if, well, I have to exhale. That's why I tell people, you have to find some way. You don't. And so up to now, I don't go in a room and cry. I just lift everything up and decide I'm going to move. And the movement I had was to start singing, and then it's just this initial contact with Hixie, and then I just started writing. Then this is Patrick John started writing for me. Then the writers kept coming, and then I just kept building my capacity to make people happy. And then then along the way you started meeting people like Alwyn, and then you met Steve, my brother-in-law, then Nigel, and then you just start doing. I just started the creative juices that coming in, and then it occurred to me that is what I was keeping inside all the time. And a lot of kids now they keep that inside and they move out. And I didn't want to do the KFC of my life. I wanted to do something that will leave a legacy, And I'm very happy that God has given me that skill and talent to use.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey so far. Believe it or not, I'm going to go back to your school, grammar school.
Dominica Grammar School. Dominica Grammar
Yeah,
School.
Dominica Grammar
please.
School.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to go back to there for a particular reason. Because, of course, there was always this rivalry between Dominica Grammar School and SMA. I had to
Grammar
find a way to put it in.
Academy.
So there was always this little rivalry thing, sports time. And, and for some reason, I mean, the Dominica Grammar School always seemed to come down with a big contingent and sports day and so on and so on. Do you find that happening now, Val? I mean, as compared to when back then you, James Dominic, and all these other guys, is they coming down with a contingent for the Dominica Grammar School?
No, and that's a problem. The thing is, what we have now is that when we were growing up, we had some parents who interested in their children. I remember when we had these sports meets, Desmond Blanchard, the former police commissioner, and Ian Blanchard were the quickest guys from the St. Mary's Academy, coming up against Irving Guy and Carl and St. Cruz and there's a number of athletes. And at that time he had his camcorder, Mr. Blanchard, and he was at the end trying to figure out, but where is Ian? Well, I can't seem to see Ian. But because Irving and the grammar school guys were so quick that you will not see Ian, but Ian was quick, So we had guys like that at that time and just compare. So we should go down there and really want to represent our school. Now we don't have that because people are so indifferent to each other. They're so impersonal. I mean, you don't get that camaraderie. So you can't have rivalry if there's no camaraderie. And I think if we can get that back, our society will be a bit different. The kids don't talk to each other no more. They have the cell phones. They look at their series. They check in their music. They have their pods on, and they're good to go. We were coming. We were talking. We were going home. We had a conversation. And I would love to see that come back. Debating competitions. I mean, nothing compared to what's happening now. When you heard there's a debating competition, grammar school versus SMA or whoever, it was something big. I mean, they didn't have to ask students to come. People were ready to participate. And that's the problem we have now in our society.
Wow. I wanted to go back to something you said earlier at school, that happened at school. You led a protest, something like that. Can you recall exactly what happened?
I think it had something to do with the lab, and I think we were trying to do something, either it's fundraising or whatever, and then they were objected to it. And then so everybody just came out. I think the rest of the body agreed, but Mr. Lockett was not too happy about that. And then I think he just felt that he had to give everybody a stroke. But I got more strokes than everybody else. But, and every time I thought he had finished, he was still hitting me,
Mr. Lockett Katano.
Yeah. So this I mean, and I didn't, to me, I knew, well, okay, that's a punishment and that's it, and we move on, But people need to stand for something, You need to stand for something. Not only you have to stand at school, but as you grow older, you have to demonstrate that capacity to understand that if something is not right, it's not right. If something is wrong, it's wrong. And these days you don't have that. And even in my own style, when any performance I do, whether I sing calypso, whether I preach, whether I MC a show, I am going to tell you as it is, because at the end of the day, if I don't, I feel that I'm cheated my reason for being here.
Wow. Where do we go to, Nigel?
Wants to ask you, well, if you run cross country.
No, the thing is, running cross country would have defeated the purpose of me being here. I would have died all along the track, because that cross country thing. They, at that time, Aussie Savary had some real cross countries going on, and we had. I mean, Tusha Lawrence, Edward Lawrence was the best at that. I remember a joke at grammar school too, because he ended up being a teacher at the grammar school, and then I lift him up in front of the entire school, and let him back down because he was a supreme runner when it comes to this cross country. So
Oh, yes.
I now in my old age I walk from my home to Point Michel and back. I walk to Maho. I have walked from Salisbury to Picard. I am doing things now that I thought that was not possible. And it's just amazing, and it's only God's will.
It is.
You know.
By the way, Ian Williams is asking us to ask you about the Pacers basketball team.
The Northern Peasant basketball team. So when we had basketball going on, and that I became the president of Basketball Association in a very peculiar way. They didn't want me to play because I was always fat, So Ian and I, we were always doing little things. I think in our days we even had one of my first events was in a little lane. We did something to raise funds, and we were raising funds. I think we still have a Northern Pacers account unless they close it to us down at the Create Union in Goodwill up there. And so we formed our own basketball team, got our clothes, our uniforms and stuff, and we went to the park and we competed. We were not the best, our point guard was a nasty fella, and every time you saw him, I think it's Emil Nassif, coming down with the ball, people used to laugh because we all look like misfits, except Ian and a few of them that really appeared to be basketballers. We looked like we should not be in this people's court. But we decided we were going to make a point. Obviously, we didn't do well. I became president of the Basketball Association because at the point I didn't like how it was being governed, how it was being run. So I sort of like got there and changed things around, and then we were able to make basketball come alive in the days of Michael Jordan. You're talking about the Magic Johnson period,
Scottie Pippen and the guys, Larry
Bird.
Bird.
And then at that time WCK was coming out, so we were able to fuse sports and culture, get Lapo Cap with get Steel Band and do some real creative things. This is Mike Jones was part of that. Johnson, John Rose. So so I moved from Northern Pacers and being able to get into the administrative part of basketball, and then just continue doing what I had to do.
Wow. Let me just say this quickly, Nigel, from the live. Mimi Thomas is saying, Val and I confirmed together at the St. Alphonsus Church, and he was hard and still soft with us in our confirmation class. I think it is in our time, the 2 years spent started for confirmation class. Marol had it hard with the confirmation class. Boy, she couldn't handle the section. Next thing we hear when we have another year to do classes, you didn't want to see our faces. Oh my goodness, what a story! Because most of us had our outfits already. You remember that?
Yeah, yes, I remember that. I mean, at that time when they said confirmation, it's not like now where people like we were in church last Sunday, and you have the priest, Father Karamas, for the people, children from the church that the first coming to come out. There were 90, and so there were 90 of them, and there was barely 20 there, So at this time, when they tell you go to church, you have to go to church, and you have to do exactly. I remember. I mean, even me. I mean, I go with my girlfriend, and I'm there. We go out to a show, and I'm coming home at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I go to lie down in my bed, and I'm not expecting that. My mother and father wakes me up and tell me you have to go to church. You went to enjoy yourself, then you had to go to church, and I'll be in church and sit down by my mother, and I fall asleep and snoring hard. And I just getting some big elbows across. I mean, she was tough on us for that, So nobody, whether it's Romo, whether it's Deborah, it's Lawrence, you do not come home and say you're not going to church. And now kids will go out and come home and they don't even know where the church is. And so unless we understand that who we are, whose we are, I mean, some of us get to know it late, but it's never too late to know Jesus Christ, because that's a problem that this generation have. They feel like they fear nobody, So confirmation, first coming in, but I do not. My life, I do not want to wake up out of this life, not knowing that I could have achieved something with my Lord and Savior. So I think that is the problem, and how do we solve that is to take out the fear from people. Religion is not about fear, and I'm happy that Mimi brought that memory back, because we took great joy and pride in coming to receive our first Holy Communion, to receive our confirmation. That's the thing.
All right. Wow, connecting the dots. Nigeria, we have to check the tube as well. I know we're checking the book. By the way, Rennick Thomas is asking a question. Val, you don't have to answer that, no? But he's asking, who was the person you love so dearly that spin your life around like a record?
Well,
no name, no warrant.
Yeah, she died, I think, last week or two. She died. May her soul rest in peace. But that's how life is. I mean, we come and go, and everybody. There are some people who have experienced what I experienced as a young person, and they didn't make it. They commit suicide. They do all sorts of things. And I encourage people, whenever you have a down moment in life, get creative. And I keep telling that. And people may think of whatever they want of Salamat, Hixie Salamat, but he was able to. At that point in my life, it's like God put him right there. He was living just down Pottersville, somewhere just by I can't remember, but he was in the right place at the right time to offer the assist, and he was already involved in theater, in music, in sports and stuff like that. So it became that bridge that I needed, Wow. And I'll never forget that bridge.
Wow. Ophelia Murray, by the way, is on, and she's saying that your sense of humor, has to go in. So.
Oh, that's another lady. I remember too another story when I sang at the Cicero Hotel for the first time. I sang "Through My Pocket," and so it was my first time performing. So I put on a Santa Claus outfit on me, and Swinging Stars jammed the song, and then I froze, and then so they were playing this song in Miami, and I was singing in Japan. I was so off key. I was worse than Fredo's, and so when I was done with that, they kept telling me, but you need to go and learn to sing. And so then I connected with Ophelia, and then Ophelia gave me a few little pointers here, there, and stuff like that, and listen to your song after you perform, listen and stuff. So I took his little advice, and then I just started, and then because you sometimes you do those things you don't know what to do, and I was and yet again God again was putting people in the right place at the right time for me as I progressed.
Was this the same song that took you on tour with the RSB to Guadeloupe?
Oh yeah. That is you see how that song, This Is Chef Joe, Yochebia Sukuya, was his theme song. Through My Pocket made me so much money, in terms that I could go around the world with a diaper and sing this one song for half an hour, and then but I remember in RSB days they brought us, I think Joe Cam brought us to Guadeloupe, and Maxime Powell and Kofi and these guys. I was on the truck with them, and they savaged my diaphragm. I could not recover after that because they played this song at about 150 something, and I had to be singing. I can never forget that. And Carl is remembering that still. So he seemed to have known what he was doing. They were doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nigel, let's go on because man, so many things you have to cover.
We have so much to cover with Val. So Val, okay, so we moved on from grammar school. That's it. We moved on from grammar school, and then of course you went into the world of cutting dead bodies, as you say. I'm looking at I guess at the PMH and so on. For those who don't know, Val, what's the experience like working with a dead body? Because a lot of people grew up, like afraid of a dead body, or afraid of the dead, put it that way. And you're there in the mortuary, you alone with these dead people. Were you ever scared? Did you ever get like nightmares or feel like they were gonna wake up? Or what was it like?
Before you answer that, Val, quickly, someone is saying by James Electronics, Hixie lived.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
James
Electronics.
Electronics. Yes, working with dead bodies because of my father. I saw my father do it so many times, and being able to coordinate that with him, and I didn't have any fear, and I still.
You were
don't have
never
any fear.
afraid, even as a little boy, when you saw your father do it for the first time?
At my age, when I was making more money than my teachers, no, I was not afraid. I was not afraid. The teachers who were teaching me at that time were not making as much money as I was making, and I always tell people if I had taken time off to the money that I made cutting dead bodies, I probably would be the Carl Nassif of my time. But I probably didn't figure this out because you're just young and you make money and then you help I was like a small man in a big house. I just helping and doing whatever I can, and so it was a good time. cutting and working in the dead is so peaceful. It's so loving, and to prepare somebody, you're preparing them to find out what caused their death for us here, but at the same time with the decency of putting them together to go back to dust, and you're doing it in the most decent and honorable way. And I had no problem doing that.
Wow. Even if the person is someone that probably you would have known very well, maybe even a close family ties or something like that.
Yes, because you have to learn to hold back, because you have to give the support to the families at that time, and now, even now on my next phase of my life, it isn't even much more important that I had that experience, so I can deal with people and comfort them, especially at time of loss.
Wow.
Yes, and just quickly on the YouTube, say good morning to those of you who are connecting on the YouTube one. Elizabeth Thomas, of course. Liz, good morning to you. Always a blessing to have you as well. June Ferrara is saying Connecting the Dots is a great program and wants to welcome Val. So we're going to go through the YouTube comments in a little bit as well. All the people who joined on the YouTube. So we have the YouTube and of course we have the book.
Yeah.
So Val, okay, so we have the dead body situation. You've connected through that. We want to get into how Val eventually got into the entertainment part of his life. Calypsonian, Calypso Association. You've already told us Hixie, kind of got you there, but how did you decide that you're going to go ahead and do this song? Get into Calypso, get into entertainment?
Well, the thing is, my father wanted us, most of us to play the organ. The person who came closest doing that was my sister Deborah. I never wanted to play organ I felt playing organ.
How many siblings?
6.
Okay.
But I never wanted to play in the church. Which sounds very funny now. So Deborah was the closest. Lawrence tried playing with a band, with Hurricane. But he had to be called back home because my mother didn't want to play in the band. So I decided that I wanted to do this music thing after I got the first taste of it, and to see the reaction and the way people were coming up to me. At that time, the person that I took my style from was King Obstinate. So King Obstinate was out there, and I used to go to Antigua for Carnival to meet my other sister, Dolissa. So I used to go to the Calypso shows there, and then I got introduced to Obstinate. This is Swallow, and a number of Calypsonians, and then start bridging and then start expanding. And then I realized, but there's an opportunity for me. And then when the tours start coming in, and then I remember the first one that came on was to go to England. So it was Yakima, Daryl, Bob, myself, and a group of us had to go to England and to perform at various schools and stuff like that. And it was just an amazing experience, and I got a good taste of it. And I decided, well, seeing that is happening, but even just to go back a little bit, I started in the theater thing before. So after I did a number of plays with Alwyn. This is Alwyn Bully. All the plays that I did, somebody from the UE were in Dominica, and they liked how I performed, and they decided they wanted to put me in the Wide Sargasso Sea. So I did that movie with them, and then I played Young Bull and Old Bull. And so it's from that movie, when I entered into Calypso, I decided to use the name Young Bull. And people ask me today, why are you not using Old Bull? I say, but why should I use Old Bull when the Young Bull is working fine? So the Calypso started, and then the plays, a lot of plays in between there, performances with New Dimension Theatre Company, with Steve Hyacinth, and then the music started building up, and then my reputation started growing. I started getting performances and more shows and more writings. This is Patrick John writing. Then Pat Aaron came on the scene. I wrote a number of songs myself, and I always used to look at the topics that are affecting people. I want to sing about it. I want to make the lighter side of it, and to have them. And I always wanted the road mad songs, because to me, jump in and energize, and put your hand in the air. That was who I was, And I thought that connectivity with the people, I started growing into it. And then one day, Franklin Moses had to do a princess show. And then he could not do the princess show. And then he called me and told me if I'd like to do the show. I said, well, I've never MC in my life. He said, well, it's just so. He gave me a crash course. And then I jumped on the at the old mill to do the princess show. And then that was it. And then from the princess show, I figured, well, I think I can do this. So then I started learning the craft for myself, watching some more things that Franklin was doing. And then from that, I developed my own style. And then I started following Jay Leno, and those guys. I started following some of the Trinidadians like Tommy, Sprang Along, and then started
to hone your craft in that.
Hone my craft, yeah. And then now I started getting the opportunities to start Calypso 10, then ended up on the Calypso Association, and with Rabbit and Kelly the Ghost Williams, a number of people, for one thing I tell people, the politics of Calypso is just as bad as the politics of governance of a country. So we had a lot of things going on there that you had to deal with, but it was a beautiful experience. We kept the arts alive, and then being able to perform everywhere, and being called to and engaged. I mean, I remember I almost lost the opportunity to keep performing in Anguilla because I used to perform in such a way, take my shirt off and then pull my boxers down to my boxers, and the minister was there and she said, do not bring back this fat man here ever again. So the next time I was brought back, they had some restrictions, and I had to conduct myself in a better way, but what I did, I bought the diaper of the strip, so at least she didn't have a problem with that.
What is the lesson learned when you look back at that event and some of the other things that you would have done when you look back now?
It's all part of my formation, and you have to go out to be formed, and you cannot stay back and not form. So all the experiences I had, I regret some of them, because I've done some things in terms of how I used to perform, and I remember at Sister Hotel I went into a man's wife's lap to dance, and the man picked up ready to serve me, and the crowd had to tell him it's a show, So and some people get upset, you will say something that they don't like, but it's nothing personal. It's just that I like to use creative things to make people laugh, and my performances really, when I tell you at a show to move to the left, I mean move to the left. When I say put your hand in the air, I didn't ask you to put your hand down, I said put your hand in the air. So I had that kind of command, and people like that.
And you had the energy from the crowd as well.
Oh yeah, I fed off the crowd, I even like when we had Creole in the Park one year, I had to MC and sing, and I lost. I was so tired because I was at the festival's office, and then I had to come in and sing last at the Calypso section. Because I had a song that was really one before the last whatever, and I forgot this song clean because just before the guys were at the back drinking, so I don't really drink rum and coke, and then those guys tell me, take a rum and coke, man, you'll be fine. So I took a rum and coke, and then the band swing started playing, and they played the band chorus twice, and I said, Checker, I cannot remember the song. Now Checker is a local historian for Calypso. He knows all our songs. So then Checker gave me the first verse and chorus. I sang it 3 times. I couldn't remember the rest. From that time I realized
that's it.
That's it. I'm not going to drink alcohol ever again like that. And I saw all the other guys who were drinking sang their 3-4 verses and they go on. But here Bull just couldn't remember one verse, and the one verse he gave me, he sang it 3 times.
That draws me to a question though, because you've had quite a few Calypsonians on, especially those of long ago like Rabbit, and we have had a lot. So there's always a talk about like a voodoo, like in Calypso, especially at the finals, the competition, when the competition was tight. You ever saw something like that?
Was
that true?
I had a situation. People. I remember I was the same Hixie. I was managing Hixie, and Hixie was good at the Independence Calypso show. He was very good at that. Every time that time came around, he competed very well. I think he won a couple of times. So there was a guy, I think his name was Surprise or whatever, and that's how I got introduced to Observer. So I came playing Mr. Fuji, and I had salt, and I think it's a black candle, and I was throwing salt, and I'm saying about what's going to be happening and how we're going to beat everybody, people are going to forget their songs, and I playing mind games, and lo and behold, he was good, but when he went on stage, he forgot his song, and then Hixie came, and Hixie said, And then at the end of the show, he had a knife coming at me. And then that's how Observer, Davison Victor, and I think a guy called King Quab and a lot of them from Goodwill now just came around and at the right time. I said, okay, that's God, and then say, well, no, and then had to pull him away from me. So the voodoo is in your mind. You play in the mind. Like King Hurricane, I remember when he come backstage, he has this majestic look. He walks into the place well dressed and he doesn't laugh at them, Dice has that as well. And if you're not strong mentally, you're going to freeze. And then so I remember you when screwing to Picky, they say Picky had a doll and stuff like that. It's just mind games, Evil only works on those who allow it to thrive in their minds, And if you don't pay it any heed, so I one thing I come, that's why I pray a lot. I bless my surroundings, do what I have to do, and just go and do my show. You cannot do nothing to me that is not allowed to be done by the free will of God, and He will take care of me. He'll take care of me.
Let me just give a comment that the one Alvin Thomas, an old boy of the SMA, Seminars Academy, his comment. Val was also my go-to guy during my days as General Secretary of the CSA. This guy is just versatile and creative, so he's saying thank you, Val. I just had to bring this in as well.
Those are the days. That was when a trade union leader would stand up for something. That was when an organization would say as it is, not the way it is now, where people are afraid to talk and come and be afraid to express themselves, and it's regrettable that we have come to that point. And I miss people like Alvin Thomas in Dominica. I wish the American government will see it fit to send him back at some point to assist us in getting ourselves corrected.
Well, Val, before we move on, and Nigel, there's so much we want to cover,
Yes, so
But tell us a little about Goodwill. I know we talk about your young days. Just Nigel, quickly, because I know there's a reunion coming up, a Greenall and all of that. You lived on Jefferson Lane, but tell us about that community Goodwill. What stands out for you? It's a very large community.
The Roseau Nav Goodwill is a mix of the upper and the lower, and one of the things is you go to upper Goodwill. You may not see their doors open, but if you go to lower Goodwill, most times you pass, people are open to each other and stuff like that. It's a mixed community of diverse skill sets and quality, So we were able to thrive. We have the fishermen, we have the doctors, we have the nurses, we have the policemen, we have the prison officers. And one of the things that I am happy about it, we didn't have as many businesses as we have now. So when we opened up Bullseye Pharmacy on Federation Drive, there was only just little shops. Now, if you look at Federation Drive now, it's like a whole new community, and I'm happy to see that, And it has grown from strength to strength. A lot of successful people have come from the Goodwill area, but I go back to the point that you only build a successful community if the home becomes the home. If the home is the jam on the bayfront, there's no going to be a good community. People, you're not going to find this generation bringing out the success stories that have come out from my time, and that's what worries me about our country. We are seeing people making children, but they are not being grown into anything. Many of them are not being grown into the quality that is needed to sustain the longevity of this nation, and so we are at a point now where those of us who are in the late 50s, are getting into the point where you 21 was so far away, and you're looking at the 21-year-olds now. You're wondering, can they now step up to the plate? Can they do this? Can they do that? And the answer is no. And my disappointment in Dominica and Goodwill now is that people have just hit back and accepted, that this is how it is, and we are unable to do anything about it. But I say we have things we can do about it. We need to step up and grab these kids. The same way when I was growing up, I could not pass Molly Fountain this season, tell her, and don't say good morning, or be disrespectful on the basketball court. And then I used to go to the basketball court and then be swearing left, right, and center. And by the time I reach home, my mother is waiting for me. And at that time, didn't have cell phone. It's landline. But she waiting for me because she knew I was cursing on the court. You don't have that now. The disrespect. I mean, you used to take your beatings from your parents. The disrespect that you have now, kids, you cannot touch them. You cannot say anything to them. And parents are not parenting anymore. So and that is the difficulty that we face. And we grew up in a time when your parents were parenting.
Yes, Nigel, I know you
By
had
the
a
way,
question.
quickly here, yes, as we move on to the next area of Val, the controversial Val, because Val has controversy too, Don't think Val is just,
Oh yes. We
So,
want
so of course, Claude says, thank you for reminding him that you cost them the game because they were on the verge of winning and you run him out. So he wants to tell you thank you for reminding him about that. And then who is this? That says about the you became the president of the Basketball Association because of Cloud's basketball team.
Yeah.
McDonald Roberts wants to remind you of Cloud's basketball team as well.
Cannot forget that.
So
Can't
yes,
forget Clouds.
So that brings us to the controversy, because Val has been, part of that, embedded in Basketball Association, and then of course you became festivals coordinator and director and all the rest of it. For those who say Val brings along controversy sometimes, what do you say to them about that?
I choose freedom over fear. I choose Jesus Christ over greed. And in doing that, I will speak my mind. I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I do not worry about your position. This is the situation as it is, and this is reality. So when people say I'm a controversial person, it's because I speak the truth. I say how I feel about anything. And that's why when I was growing up, Nigel and Ivona, it was difficult to make a pass at a young lady. Because I would tell you, if I didn't like you and you're not pretty, I'll tell you you're not pretty. I mean, sometimes I end up on the wrong side, but I took it because that's how I am. When I look at my time at the festival's office, we achieved a lot of things, a lot of success, and I still think there's a lot more that could be done and can be done. But we need leadership. We need leadership that will show that we have the capacity to do what we are called to do. Nigel Francis is a director of the play. I am the actor. He has his part as the director. I have the part as the director. I have my part as the actor. We both can coexist, but he hasn't let me act my part how it comes out. And he will tell me if he thinks I could tweak something. The same comes up with any government institution. What we have had if you look at the politics of Dominique over the period of time, is that you had leaders who will empower people to take responsibility. We have too many persons who are incapable of doing or managing basic fundamental things of life, managing a country. And I say that with no apology. We have to be able to, if you are a carpenter, you have to do what a carpenter does. You can't be a plumber and be responsible for finance. There are certain times in life that even if you are the originator, the big plan, everything, you have to understand that you have to bring in a CEO to run it.
But there may be times you will have prerequisite skills in other areas as well. So
Yes.
yes, you can be a plumber, but you can also be an accountant, or you may not be an accountant, but you are very skilled in accounting.
If you're a skilled plumber and you're not an accountant, leave the people money alone. If you're a plumber and you're a qualified accountant, you can do both. But I'm saying there are times where if you're the person that brought the idea up, okay, so you're the leader, you brought the idea up. But there are times where you have to employ a CEO, somebody who knows exactly what has to be done. And the Americans are doing it very well. There's the president of America, and between him, there's so many other people that he gives functions to do. So he don't have to be doing everything himself. So I'm controversial not because I want to destabilize anything. It's just that sometimes I just want to see people to understand that there's a different point of view. I grew up with Eugenia Charles era. My mother used to go and pray for at the pastoral center. Now I go to the pastoral center for classes, for my deacon classes. I raised up with knowing Edison James, Patrick John, not as personal as I knew Eugenia Charles. and now it's like people don't want to speak, people don't want to talk, people are afraid, and I don't know what to say to them no more than that. If we turn to prayer, if we turn to God and we understand who we are as a people, and take back our home, because the home is the domestic church, the home is the first school, the home is the first supermarket, is the first shop. Take back our homes. Once we take back our homes, we will start getting people who do not want a chance, but when people want a change of heart. And unless the change of heart begins with every Dominican, we will not see what we're looking for. And we have people like we have leaders out there who want to come into power as a chance. I want my chance. But if you do not change your own heart and your own mind, you're going to repeat the same cycle. And Dominica is at the point where we have to be very careful we do not repeat the same cycle of just giving people a chance.
Would you say as well, Val, that would you agree that political divisiveness is very intrinsic in the fabric of our society?
It is, and it is so because our politics is so small-minded, and I think Dominica was not ready for political independence. We went into independence and we became poorer for it. When you become independent after 40 plus years, you should see something that is needed that you should have seen 20 years ago. We should not be talking about international airport now. We should have had an international airport already. We should not be talking about expansion of the cruise ship berth now. We should have had that already. So people are planning to stay in power, and people are not planning to build the power of the people around the trust that has been given them for that power. And I want us to understand that this is not about any political organization. We're going to have problems with both. As I said, it's about change of heart for your chance. We need to understand that you cannot want to be the change if you are not prepared to make the change yourself. And you cannot be the one inside not changing. And I need people we need more Ruthie Douglas type to stand up. We need more people like Michael Douglas to come forward. People that can, because as I said the other day, we were in Dominica and we hearing a Trinidadian sounding like he's a Dominican. Where are the people of this country who can make that difference? I have tried.
You ever had political aspirations?
Yes, I did.
I know there was talk, but in terms of you, Val, how did you feel about that personally?
I wanted to be involved in politics, but I say God has His plans for everything. I think if I was involved in politics, I would. For me now, if I was involved in politics, Dominica would be a different place. I probably would have been a one-term prime minister, because I do not have the capacity to stand stupidness. Neither am I prepared to take nonsense from anybody, whether you're in my cabinet or not. I don't compromise. So what we have going on is that I was asked by the Labour Party a couple of times about the election to go up, rose enough. I was asked by the opposition. But you can feel energies. I know that is not where I'm supposed to be, because I will be in the same problems that I have been through. I went on a political platform twice. That affected my wife. Okay? It affected a number of things, businesses and stuff like that. But I'm still here. I'm still standing, like Triple K says. Mm-hmm. The issue is, if I had got into politics, I would have been able to tell people the truth. Because for me, the reality is here. We are a country that should have been better off than we are today. And people are worried that if they don't get going, we're going to be in trouble. I have a problem when we look at Dominica now in reference to the other islands in the Caribbean, how far we have run our course. And it hurts me that we are not able to make the judgment, because people are sitting in issues of power. They will meet you and they will tell you, oh, this is wrong, this is not right, Mr. is this, Mr. is that. But they will not tell him. I used to go to cabinet when I was at the festival office. I'll make a presentation about the World Music Festival. There are guys there making noise with me. They don't like this, too much money, Mr. Cuffy and stuff like that. And as soon as the Prime Minister steps out and goes into his room to a meeting or something and comes back, comrade, everybody agreed. So it's either they're afraid of the Prime Minister, right, or they're afraid of themselves. So I would have said to me personally, Val Coffey, if I'm sitting across the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, I would tell Mr. Skerritt how I feel. And I think he should like me for that. He should not hate me for that.
When you look at the festival now, in terms of the many years, of course, you have been staging this, we have this product in Dominica, and in terms of how it started, so from the inception to where it is now, what concerns you, or do you have a concern, or what suggestion would you give, even at this time?
We after so many years of this festival, we can make some changes now. I know we want to do that Duval Jour and keep it, but we can't do Duval Jour for 3 nights still.
You're talking about the time of the event? Okay.
Yes, the time of the event. You know, we need to be able to explore the other avenues, the other opportunities that are available for our destination. Because at the same time we have festivals, we have a destination to market. So here is Dominica doing a festival. 3 nights of pulsating rhythm. We built it on the backs of that. St. Lucian is now coming hard and fast at us. St. Vincent is coming hard and fast. Grenada is coming hard and fast. We need to make a change now to bring the dynamics into line with the stereotypes that are available within our sphere of operation. The World Music Festival should now start looking not only at cutting down, but influencing the other communities.
Cutting down in terms of? We
bring in.
You're talking about the artists.
We bring in so many artists sometimes, okay. And that it is mind-boggling. How are we going to? Why are we putting all that resources when we could look for 1 or 2 A-list artists, right? Make your event. Then you could say, I mean, we have Friday night, we have Saturday night, we have Sunday. We can easily take Sunday onto the beach. We can take Sunday into a community and to make that community thrive financially. You know, we can do a lot more for our local products, our local cuisine. I mean, years ago we talked about the Creole Queen show. So many other things that can happen, right? But we keep beating that same drum because it has worked for us. We do the same thing with culture. You know, it's like as if it has been working, so don't change it. We need to put more money into it, but we have to put money, but be very wise as to how we share that money. And the other thing is, we have the same people who have been there this is Eddie Tulor, from the time of Jeffrey Brisbane, from the time of Colin Piper. We still have some of the same people being in the same positions, you know, not being able to do new things. So we need to bring the young people that's in the forefront and organize. It's the same effect as happening for not only Creole Music Festival but our carnival as well. We are losing the products because we agreed whatever has been going on for a number of years is the best thing that happened for us, and we're not changing it. So there are some things that we have to sit down and a proper evaluation. I would call for a commission of inquiry into the festivals and carnivals of this country. Where have we gone wrong? And what can we do to so bring in the best minds, and you can even call the people in the diaspora as well to join that commission and to look and see how we can, and do it very quickly, because we could employ Colin is living now after 18 years, and he was the Archbishop of Patience, and if you can have him to leave at this point in time, it tells you what time it is, because to lose somebody like Colin now, at this juncture, when everything is in disarray, whoever comes into this office will have to go to the Vatican for 2 weeks, because it's going to take a lot of help and guidance from God to put this thing in order. Right? You have a new destination marketing manager, and she will suddenly realize what time it is. If we don't, we need to sit down and have a conversation.
So it's not just a post-mortem after any event.
No.
It's like an inquiry, as you say.
Inquiry. And Dominican doesn't need an inquiry for festival. We need an inquiry into a number of things that are affecting the country. We need a truth commission, a truth. The thing is, lies have been allowed to become the currency of this country. And if lies is the currency, it means therefore that the truth will never see a light of day. Those of us who are inclined spiritually will keep praying, we'll keep asking God guidance, but we can't allow, and greed, money. People have replaced God in Dominica with money. We look at money as and possessions as the realities of our time. We pay no heed to God. But when somebody died, you could see the crying going on. People are screaming. And Ivona, Nigel, within 24 hours, the crying stopped. They're looking for the money that the person leave. They're looking for the car. They're looking for the web. And they pick up somebody else now to drive to their grave. We have to turn back to God in this country. Après bon de la terre. And we are not doing that. So people like me may be sounding very controversial. But I speak my mind, and I feel good about speaking my mind, and that's the beautiful thing about
you let
me.
go, you release.
I release.
Yes. Nigel, I'm looking at the time. It's almost that time for us to end.
So
we want to look at where Val is now and what he's doing
we
as well.
We haven't touched on so much stuff.
What he's doing now.
Yes, what is happening. But Val, very quickly, because of time and everything else. I mean, MCing has been part of your life for quite a while. You moved out, you came back recently, and so on and so on. Very quickly, in terms of MCing, what would you offer for those who want to become an MC or share anything in that light?
I have offered the Clubs Association for years to do an MCing workshop free of charge. I have tired us. I am willing to do it. I love MCing, but I would like to share what my experiences.
But as a businessman, wouldn't you like just take this up on your own if you have made several requests? And
The Bullseye Pharmacy don't employ me MCs.
No, I'm just saying as a businessman. I'm not talking about your personal business.
Yeah, but if I was employing MCs, I'll have a set.
So you want to form that correlation sort of.
So the cultural division,
right, yes,
the festivals office, the Cultural Association, come. Let's just have this, and these are things that we need to do. So I would love to do it. So I love MCing. I will come out occasionally, and do a show or two. But yet again, people don't get accustomed. I see people roasting people like President of Dominica, America having a show, a dinner. I would love our president to have a dinner and invite me as a comedian to give a few jokes. And let's just laugh at each other. I like to see the Prime Minister have a dinner and invite comedians. I love to see Prime Minister come to the Calypso finals, even if they're singing half of the songs against you. Come, bring you and your wife and the children, expose them to our culture. When you stay away and you don't want to be part of it, it's not good. So I'm hoping that a lot of things will change, especially in coming down to this year. Stop the politics of division, stop the politics of hate and anger and stuff like that. And Dominicans, focus. We are in a period of Lent, go looking for a great time to the resurrection of our Lord. And the problem is that the majority of people who are not conforming to the rules of God are Catholics. And if Catholics decide to take their faith seriously, a lot of the things that Dominicans are struggling with, we'll break those chains. We can. So go to church tomorrow morning. Give God His glory. And when you go to church, and I always say that, don't give the praise, the collection that is making, put some dollars in there. Give God back. You get in, you thief in. Give God.
What keeps you very busy these days, Val? Especially where the church is concerned. What are you? How much involved are you?
Well, I am presently doing, together with Algernon the Gallery and Albert Watty, we are three of us doing the diaconate program. My life is about God, giving my due, going back to praise Him, to glorify His name, to try and get people to understand that life is very short, life is fragile. We have lost so many people, friends and loved ones that we have lost. We need to go back to God. So I'm doing that. I am down to the last year and a half, and God willing, we keep each other in prayer, and that we hopefully the church can grow. And church is not about whether you're just in Catholic or you're Protestant. We're talking about knowing Jesus and trying to realign. Because if we live according to the laws of Christ, we will not have a lot of problems that we're having. So I'm happy to be part of this process, and I hope to continue to grow, continue to read more, continue to be part of that, and pray for me, and pray for my brothers, pray for all priests, pray for all pastors, because it's not an easy time. It's not an easy time to when you devote your life to God. The enemy doesn't like that. And whether it's marriage and whatever you commit yourself to, the enemy doesn't like that. We have to keep praying for each other, and if we keep praying for each other, we will see a better tomorrow.
Profound words there from Val Cuffy, our guest on Connecting the Dots this morning. Yes, Nigel, we still have maybe about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean the connection is what I mean. And Val, one of the things we do on Connecting the Dots is that we try to get the journey from beginning to end. So you've been involved, Val, in sports, you've been involved in music, you've been involved in entertainment, you are the cultural division, you are festivals committee, there's a whole wide spectrum of Val, and of course now you're deeper into the faith. When you look back at this whole journey, Val, do you think in a sense it was preparing you for where you are today?
Yeah.
I think so, Nigel. I think so. I think it was part of my formation, and God is not done with me yet. I'm just a vessel that He's using, and I'm happy to be part of that. And the thing is, I just want each family member, each friend, let's just hold each hand, because we're on a journey together, and unless we come together as one, we're not going to make it. Because I want to see my family in heaven. I don't want to be on the other side. I'm here. No, we all want to be in one back. And that keeps me excited. So when I start my day at 3:00 in the morning, and I thank God for that, and I keep moving, and I do what I have to do, and get organized. And one beautiful thing is that like God has blessed me with a very supportive and loving wife. I could never ask, and of course, Nigel, to let you know, she also went to the Dominican grammar school.
Right.
So it's like he has put everything in place for me. So what do you do? What I've given you, Val? Report back to me. Well, I want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant.
Is there anything, Val, that you used to think about, like you wanted to do, even when you were young or when you were growing up, that you never really accomplished? Is there something that you still want to give, try your hand at? Or it's too late now in terms of what exactly it is that you
will
want
not
to do?
believe it is wrestling.
Wow.
Professional wrestling. That is something I told you earlier on. That's something I wanted to. I just love wrestling, and even my whole marketing and my whole demeanor comes from the school of wrestling that I learned from. So Vince McMahon and those guys, and the way they used to do their stuff, and a lot of that is from wrestling.
Wow. And that was very popular back in the day, right, Nigel, in Dominica? You remember?
Oh yes.
Wrestling, big Hulk Hogan and the others.
At the television set,
yes.
looking at all those guys, Ric Flair and all the rest of them, and they would gather to make sure they could see the wrestling. I know families who would sit down and one against each other in terms of who they want to win tonight and so on.
Those were the days.
Not realizing it's not real.
Yeah, Val, let me ask you though, how do you feel about the program?
But Val, I mean,
okay, let Nigel go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as someone who, has been through all of that, all the different steps you've been through, to young people, what do you say to them?
Young people, you have a tremendous opportunity to realign and redirect your life. You have a country that needs you to step out of the darkness that you're in into the light. Now is the time. There's no other time but now to let your voices be heard, to let your faces be seen, because at the end of the day, this country is going to be left for you to govern and run. You ask yourself, what will be left to govern if I do not ask the questions that need to be asked now and get the answers? I leave it at that.
Yeah. How do you feel about Connecting the Dots? We just have about a minute and a half to end.
It's a very beautiful program, and I want to applaud you all for that. I hope that you can speak to me about sponsoring this activity, because I think it's a very good, commendable program to let people know about Dominicans, in not only here but in the diaspora, many people, and I think we should continue doing that, and and to make sure that their voices are heard and their opinions are told. And DBS Radio doing a fantastic job. I think hats off to you all for that, and keep doing it, because if we don't connect the dots with each other, we're going to lose sight of the historical data and the legacy that a lot of people have contributed and left behind, you know. And I think thumbs up.
All right, so I want to talk to Val about the sponsorship.
Nigel, look at the time already, we. And people, someone,
Yes, I
in
know,
fact,
it's
people
that
are saying
time
like,
again.
all like 4 was Valid's, we. So yeah, that is someone you have to put down on the list for like a comeback, in like a part 2, like a part 2.
Because you had a GP, and then they want to know if they don't let the man sit in the front seat was because something happened to you too. So there's so much we have to cover.
Yeah.
You know, but
Someone is saying, Nigel, that we need Raymond Lawrence in the door. He has a lot in the back to talk about. But we had Raymond Lawrence as a guest
we've
as
had
well.
Raymond before. Because
Yes, we've had Raymond as a guest as well. Yes. But Nigel, we have to end this another program that's on already. Val Cuffy, let me thank you so much for agreeing to, you know, join us on this program. There's so much that we can learn, you know, from Val. So much we can learn from Val. And it was really, really a pleasure. I know, Nigel, yourself, you enjoyed it. That's your boy, so
Oh, yes.
you go way back. You would have done a lot together. There's so many things that we did not even cover.
Coffee des arts.
Coffee des arts.
Yes.
Okay, with Nigel. Yes. Wow.
We've
but-
had a beautiful journey and
Yeah.
connected. But Val, as always, a pleasure, man.
Same here, man.
And of course, you know, all the best, continued blessings.
Same to you.
And I know I'll echo your call to go to church tomorrow, and you know, and to ensure that we can continue on that journey as well.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for joining us, connecting the dots.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, and we'll connect again.
And thanks to all those
God
who
bless.
viewed and listened as well on YouTube and on Facebook, on the radio as well. Thank you so much. That's it. As we weave a tapestry and strengthen our connections. ASU Radio DBS.